Through his life and ministry, he is bringing about reconciliation to God. He's restoring people that were far from him. In his death, as we talked about on the last feast that we commemorated, the Feast of the Holy Cross, how is it that Jesus understands his death in John 12? He says, when I am lifted up, I will draw all men to myself. John tells us that he said this in order to indicate the way in which he was going to die. But he's not just articulating that, is he? He's articulating why he's dying in such a way. Why is it that he's exalted upon the throne of a cross, even though on the outside it does not appear to be a throne? And yet from it, he is reconciling all people to God, that all who come to him through his cross might be reconciled to him. What's happening in the intervening period when his body is laid in the grave, when he is commiserating himself with the dead? He descends into the underworld. He descends into Hades. For what purpose? To preach the gospel to the dead. You thought you were far off from God? Imagine being consigned in Hades. Imagine being Adam and Eve, having to welcome people in. Yeah, you're here because of us. Yes, go ahead and let it out. It's okay. And yet Christ comes and he proclaims victory over those fallen angels that are consigned in Tartarus. And he proclaims the good news of the gospel to those who had heard murmurs and glimmers of it in the old covenant, but could not actually access it yet. Christ, by his blood, issues forth the good news of the gospel. He's bringing together those things which had been separated from God. In his resurrection, he is sending out, right? He gathers his disciples again. He restores them. And what does he do? He sends them out. He commissions them to go preach the gospel. Why? That those who are far off and who don't know God and who have not heard the good news of the gospel might be brought near. In his commissioning, what's he doing? He's inviting us to join him in that very same act of uniting all things in heaven and on earth to God in his Son, Jesus. When he ascends into heaven and is seated at the right hand of the Father, what happens? All those souls that believe the good news of the gospel, that have been consigned to the underworld, Paul tells us in Ephesians 4 that Jesus leads captivity captive. That those who were dead under the old covenant and separated from God in the underworld are now brought into the heavenly realms. This is the unitive work of Christ, drawing together all people to himself. At his great return on that last day, what is he doing? Further unification, further bringing all things, indeed setting all things right in heaven and on earth.